Hi, this is the JU06A. It's modeled after Roland's vintage analog Juno 60 from 1982 and the Juno 106 from 1984. From a features perspective, the 06A is better in almost every way than the Juno 60, so the question is, do they sound the same? Let's find out. Before we compare the sounds, let's compare the features. Advantages for the Juno 60 obviously are that it has an actual keyboard, a bender, and bigger sliders. The 06A, however, has quite a few advantages. I won't cover them all, but highlights are that it's more portable and can be powered with 4 AA batteries or over micro USB. It has MIDI in and out over USB, as well as it sends audio over USB if you like. Rather than just one LFO shape in the original Juno 60, the 06A has quite a few LFO shapes. It has a built-in sequencer, which the original Juno 60 does not, and it has a built-in delay effect. Now, this is called the 06A because it's an update to Roland's JU06. It also includes the former's engine, which is modeled after the original Juno 106 from 1984, so you get 2 for 1 in this one. Roland did remove the pitch bend and mod sliders compared to the 06, but they added an arpeggiator and chord mode with 16 programmable chord shapes. Both units have 4 voices but can be chained to expand polyphony, and both have a mix audio input, though it doesn't process the audio through the filter, the chorus, or the delay. From a build perspective, the back is plastic and the front is sturdy metal. Alright, let's start the comparison. Let's start by comparing the sawtooth waveforms. What do you think? Can you tell a difference? Let's take a look at the square waveform. Looks different on the scope, but can you hear the difference? Let's try a little pulse width sweep. Okay, let's take a listen to the sub-oscillators. There is a subtle difference here. Almost feels like there's a little LFO on the 06A sub, though I checked and nothing's on. It's a little grittier too. Just for fun, let's compare the sub-oscillator on the Juno 60 emulation compared to the 106 emulation. Notice it doesn't have that LFO-like motion. It's also a rounder waveform. So this is the 106. Let's go back to the 60. Let's try sub together with a saw. Let's compare the envelopes. We'll start with attack. Let's compare decay envelopes. Can you hear a difference? I also get requests for release envelope comparisons. We won't wait this out. Let's compare the high-pass filters. The 06A's filter is gradual, and the 60's filter is steppy. Let's compare this to the 106's filter. The emulation, of course. Okay, let's go back to 60. Filter sweep without resonance. And on the real thing. Let's try resonance at 50%. Close your eyes and see if you can tell a difference between these. Okay, resonance at 100%. Close your eyes, see if you can tell which is which. Last up, let's compare the chorus. The Juno 60's chorus is like going to the beach in stereo. And I'm talking before we even run any sound through it. Chorus noise in the 06 is way more subtle. And there's a setting that lets you turn it off altogether if you want. Of course, the point is to run audio through it. That was chorus 1. Let's try chorus 2. Chorus 1 and 2. Let's compare the LFOs. By the way, the Juno 60 only has one shape and the 06A has multiple shapes. Seems like the 06's LFO goes to higher rates. The last comparison I wanted to make was sort of like a real-world pad sound. I tried to get the settings as close as possible. Obviously, every little millimeter on the faders will make a different sound. The sliders are of course bigger on the 60, which makes it easier to control. It is harder to make fine, precise motions on the 06. Now, other differences, despite the layout being a clear homage to the Juno 60, there are plenty of additional features and settings in here. You access them through various shift functions. So for example, if you want to set the delay parameters, you hold the delay button and then you get level, time, and feedback control. You can reach additional settings if you hold the manual button, and things like controlling portamento, pitch bend, and the additional LFO shapes. Right, you access that through here. Start and edit let you control the sequencer, and if you hold the arpeggio button, you get access to additional system settings like tuning, clock, and MIDI channel settings. Okay, so let's take a look at the pros and cons. Obviously, this doesn't have a keyboard, so you'll need to factor that in. But all that said, the Boutique series is small, no doubt about that. However, the fact that this particular one has sliders instead of knobs doesn't make it feel cramped, and the benefit of a small synth is room for more stuff around it and portability, of course. Now, while this does have a sequencer, which the JU06A does not, it's only 16 steps and monophonic with no automation lanes. So an external sequencer is highly recommended. Even something like the Keystep keyboard from Arturia has both a polyphonic sequencer and more than 16 steps, so it's a nice way to get a lot more out of this relatively cheaply. Like I mentioned earlier, compared to the 06, Roland removed the pitch bend and mod strips, so that may be a con for you. I think the space is better used with the arpeggiator control and additional features, but you should be aware of that if it was important for you to have that on board. On the pros side, if you're interested in the JU06A and 106 sounds, while perhaps not precise in every measure, this certainly has a sound that's pretty close to the originals. Plus, it's new and comes with a warranty. The vintage 106 and 60 are rightfully romanticized, but if you've had one, you know the 106 voices may die on you and require replacement, and even the JU06A, this one on loan from Psysex, thanks very much, while truly delicious, had some issues that needed attention over time. So bottom line, is the 06A exactly like the Juno 106 and 60? If you didn't hear any differences in this video, it shouldn't matter. And if you did, the question is it close enough to give you a bit of the mojo of the originals without the hefty weight, price tag, and maintenance headaches? You know what else might solve a few headaches? Checking out my book on electronic music ideas, tips, and tricks, available to people who support this channel on Patreon. Feel free to ask me any questions below, hit like if this was useful, and if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, hit the bell after you subscribe. Thanks for watching.